I smoothed the silk of my blouse, staring out the floor-to-ceiling windows at the city skyline, its glass towers catching the late afternoon sun. My office smelled faintly of coffee and lavender, a small indulgence I allowed myself on hectic days. My phone buzzed on the desk, and I glanced down, expecting another meeting reminder. Instead, it was a message from my brother. Family emergency. You need to come home. I let out a slow breath, feeling that familiar mix of irritation and dread. The last time they called me failed. It had cut deep. Failed child. They had said, the words like ice in my chest. I hadn't spoken to most of them in months, not since graduation, not since I left the suffocating house I'd grown up in. Yet here I was, in the very office that had once been just a dream scribbled in a notebook. My fingers traced the edge of a framed photo, me, 5 years younger, holding a small bronze statue my mentor had given me. It reminded me that I'd promised myself I'd rise, quietly on my own terms. I stood, smoothing the skirt of my pencil suit, and stared at the buzzing phone again. The truth was, I was ready for them to see me now. Ready for the day they'd have to recognize the woman I'd become. I can still remember the kitchen that smelled of burnt toast and coffee, the one where my family had gathered that fateful morning. I was 18, fresh out of high school, my hands trembling as I clutched my college acceptance letter. My father's eyes were hard, his jaw tight. My mother's lips pressed into a thin line. "You've failed," my older brother, Daniel, said, shaking his head. "We thought you'd be responsible enough to stay here and take care of your little sister. But you couldn't even manage that." The words landed like stones in my chest. I wanted to cry, to scream, to explain that I hadn't failed. I had just wanted a life beyond the small town, beyond the suffocating rules and endless judgment. But their expressions didn't invite explanation. Their disappointment was a verdict, and I was already convicted. My grandmother, a small, steady woman with silver hair and warm hands, reached over and squeezed mine. "Hannah," she said softly, "you have a fire in you. Don't let anyone tell you what you can or cannot do. Promise me you'll remember that, no matter how cold they get." I held on to her words like a lifeline. I remembered the bronze pendant she had pressed into my palm, a small sun with an open center. "For light," she whispered. "When things get dark, remember it shines from inside you." That night, I packed a single bag, leaving behind the familiar walls that had always felt like a cage. My parents didn't notice at first, and when they did, they called after me, their voices carrying a mix of anger and pity. But I didn't turn back. I couldn't. I had made a decision. I would carve my own path, even if it meant standing alone in the dark, guided only by the light of my grandmother's gift and her faith in me. For the first time, I understood what independence meant, not just freedom, but courage, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of proving myself to no one but me. I arrived in the city with nothing but my grandmother's pendant in my pocket and a determination that burned hotter than any fear. I rented a tiny studio apartment above a coffee shop, the kind with creaking floors and drafty windows, but it smelled of possibility. Nights were long and lonely, the glow of my laptop screen my only company as I drafted resumes, business plans, and rejection letters alike. Every no felt like a hammer against my confidence, yet I refused to bow. It was in one of those coffee-fueled evenings that I met Mrs. Caroline Hayes, a seasoned lawyer turned non-profit entrepreneur. She noticed me struggling with a stack of papers and offered a quiet, "You have potential. Don't waste it." That simple statement became a mantra. Under her guidance, I learned how to navigate contracts, pitch clients, and stand firm when others underestimated me, which, in this male-dominated environment, happened more often than I cared to count. Some nights, self-doubt crept in, sneaking in with the smell of rain or the hum of the subway. I'd catch my reflection in the office window and wonder if I was really cut out for this world. But I reminded myself of the bronze sun in my palm, the promise to rise, to keep moving, to create. Slowly, victories arrived. My first major client, a local startup seeking legal guidance, then a profitable consulting project, then my first employees. I kept it all hidden from my family, Every holiday, every phone call, I posted vague, modest updates on social media. A generic, doing well. Hope you are too. No details, no proof. Let them think I was scraping by. It was a silent shield, and it tasted sweeter than any applause. I furnished my apartment with little touches that reminded me of the journey. A framed quote from Mrs. Hayes. Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet and relentless. A small painting I'd bought from a street artist, bright oranges and yellows like hope itself. These things grounded me, reminders that each small step was building a life they couldn't imagine. Years of perseverance, late nights, and careful investments turned my fledgling practice into a respected firm. The girl they called a failure was now a woman commanding meetings, signing contracts worth six figures, and mentoring young women like herself, who had been told, "You can't." And through it all, the sun pendant never left my side, a constant whisper of the promise I'd made, the light I refused to lose. I hadn't planned this meeting, but as I watched my brother Daniel walk into the lobby of my office building, I realized it didn't matter. He was here, expecting the same girl he had dismissed years ago, vulnerable, struggling, maybe even apologetic. "Daniel," I said, smiling warmly as he stepped into my office. The space was a testament to years of relentless effort, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves lined with legal tomes and awards, sunlight streaming through the tall windows, illuminating my sleek desk and the abstract painting that reminded me of the bright city nights when I first arrived. Every object, every detail whispered my story, though silently. He paused, taking it all in, his eyes darting from the marble countertops to the bronze sun pendant I wore around my neck. "Hannah, is this your office?" His voice was cautious, almost reverent. "Not just my office," I replied smoothly. "It's my firm. I founded it 5 years ago." His jaw tightened, and I saw the flicker of disbelief, shame, and awe crossing his face in seconds. He swallowed hard. I didn't know. "I know what you think," I said gently, letting the words hang. "You thought I failed. You thought I couldn't handle responsibility. But here I am, not just handling it, thriving in it." I gestured toward the shelves, awards for excellence in legal advocacy, photographs of my team at conferences, letters from clients thanking us for changing their lives. All of this, Daniel, was built quietly. While you doubted me, I was learning, growing, and proving to myself that I could succeed on my terms. The rest of my family trickled in, their expressions a mixture of incredulity and guilt. My mother's lips trembled, my father's eyes darted, avoiding mine. "Hannah," my mother whispered, we thought I failed." I finished for her, my voice steady. "Yes, that's what you told me." But failing was never the problem. Staying silent, believing their words over your own strength, that would have been failure. And I chose not to. Daniel's hand twitched toward the bronze pendant around my neck, the same one Grandma had given me years ago. You're the governor?" he asked, referencing a recent client meeting where I had successfully mediated a high-profile legal negotiation involving state officials. I smiled, a quiet, confident smile. "Yes, Daniel. I am the governor. Of my own life, my own success. And I've been building it every single day, while quietly proving to myself that I could do more than survive. I could thrive." There was a pause, heavy with tension. Their silence spoke volumes. Shame. Recognition. Astonishment. They had expected the same girl they dismissed, fragile, defeated, unsure. Instead, they were staring at a woman who had turned every no into a stepping stone. And in that moment, I realized that the power shift wasn't just about proving them wrong. It was about showing them what belief, persistence, and self-respect could achieve. I watched them fidget under my gaze, realizing the old family dynamics no longer held power over me. The girl who had once shrunk under their judgment was gone. In her place stood a woman who had earned every inch of her space, and I was not here to negotiate from a place of guilt or apology. "Let me be clear," I said, my voice calm but firm. "I can help, but on my terms. And each of you has work to do before you can be part of this life I've built." Daniel was first. You need to stop questioning others' capabilities, I told him. You may be my brother, but your words nearly broke me. From now on, your support needs to be active, not judgmental. No more undermining, no more assumptions about what people can or cannot do. My mother's eyes welled up. She began, but I raised a hand gently. I know you loved me, but love without understanding is harmful. You will attend family sessions, real, honest conversations, where we rebuild trust. And you will pursue your own ambitions rather than trying to control mine. My father stiffened. And me? He asked quietly. You will drop the old patterns of criticism and condescension. You'll learn to celebrate success, even when it challenges your expectations. You'll be present, not in judgment, and you'll let go of the need to dictate how others live their lives. I looked around the room, letting each word sink in. This wasn't about revenge. This was about transformation for them and for me. If you meet these conditions, I said, I will help you, guide you, support you where I can. But I will not enable the old ways. I will not let toxicity creep back in. Their heads lowered in contemplation, and I could see the weight of realization settling on them. It wasn't easy for anyone to face their mistakes, but I could feel the shift, the moment when awareness meets accountability. Then I placed my hand over the bronze pendant at my neck. This, I said softly, was my light when everything else was dark. You will not take that from me, nor will you undermine what I've built. But you can choose to grow just as I did. And if you do, there's a place for you, not a place of control, but one of mutual respect, love, and honesty. For the first time in years, I felt the room exhale collectively. There was hope in the tension, a fragile sense that things could change. The power wasn't in domination. It was in clarity, in setting boundaries, in holding them accountable while leaving room for growth. And in that space, I realized I wasn't just the successful one they had to catch up to. I was the woman guiding the next chapter. Not theirs, but ours together, if they were willing to meet me there. Weeks passed after that day, and slowly, I saw changes ripple through my family. Daniel began volunteering at the youth legal aid clinic I had started, surprising even himself with how much he enjoyed mentoring young people. My mother attended every session of the family workshops, learning to listen before judging, to support without controlling. My father, quietly at first, began asking questions about my work, not to criticize but to understand and to learn from the life I had built. I watched them grow, and I felt a quiet satisfaction that had nothing to do with proving them wrong. It was about witnessing the transformation that came from accountability and love combined. I realized that setting boundaries, speaking my truth, and demanding respect had not only protected me, but had given them a chance to rise as well. One evening, I held the bronze pendant in my hand, tracing the open sun shape with my thumb. I remembered my grandmother's voice. When things get dark, remember it shines from inside you. That small sun had been my compass, my anchor, my quiet reminder that no one could define my worth but me. And now, seeing my family begin to change, it symbolized something even more, the light we could all carry forward, together. I smiled, adjusting the pendant around my neck. The journey had been painful, lonely, and filled with moments of doubt. But I had emerged stronger, resilient, and unwavering. I had learned that success was not just about wealth or recognition. It was about integrity, courage, and the ability to rise above old patterns. As I stood by the window of my office, the city lights reflecting in my eyes, I whispered to myself, I am the governor of my own life, and nothing can take that away. In that quiet, triumphant moment, I understood fully that I had not only reclaimed my own power but had given my family a chance to see the value of growth, respect, and love. And for the first time, it felt like we were truly beginning to heal together.